Hello, welcome back to my site. My name is Eric Talbot. I am so glad that you took out the time to click on to join me. We really do enjoy encouraging people, especially in this season of time that we're in. Be very honest with you, life is, Job said that man is born of a woman, and those days are full of trouble. So it's always going to be some kind of challenges. Life wouldn't be life if we didn't have some. It seems like it's a lot more because this is not something that we're used to, and we are going through a very unusual time right now. But all of our lives have been filled with some good times, happy times, and some dangerous times. Some dangers we didn't even know we were in. But I believe God had some angels that were protecting us during those times that we didn't even know how much danger we was in. But I was thinking today, and I'm not going to be long, about a man who one day Jesus was teaching in a house, and this man was paralyzed. He had four guys with him, and four guys knew that Jesus was in the house, but it was so crowded they couldn't get in the front door. What these guys did is they went up to the top of the rooftop and they carried the man while he was on his stretcher. They carried him up to the top of the roof and they pulled the top of the roof open and they let him down. And as they pulled the roof open, Jesus looked up and saw the man that was being brought down, and he was paralyzed. He was being brought down by four guys that were standing outside. And when they brought him down, the Bible says that Jesus saw the faith of the men and he healed the man. What I was thinking about with that is so important is that in this season where a lot of people are going to be going through, a lot of people are having hard times, it's important for us to remember that we that are able to do, that can do, should do, because a lot of times people can't do for themselves. And when people can't do for themselves and an opportunity comes for you to step in and to help, you never know. It's your faith and your belief that may sometimes move the hand of God in someone else's life. I know a lot of times it's tempting to think about what we can get for us because we always need something. I do it from time to time. I'll be down on my knees praying and Lord, can you do this for me? Lord, can you do that for me? Every now and again, if we back up and we ask God, how can I be a help to you today? Then he will show us people. People will come across your path. And if you go, and sometimes it may cause you to have to go a little beyond just the norm. But if you go a little beyond the norm, you never know your faith, your belief that someone else could be better. I love the I love the idea that these men had the understanding that if we could get him in front of Jesus, he could get better. Do we ever have a position in our lives where we see people better than where they are? I love that they saw this man being better. Unfortunately, a lot of times we only see people the way we see them. We see them as drunks. We see them as alcoholics. We see them as hoes. We see them as just straight sinners. We see them as liars. We see them as cheaters. We don't even believe or feel that they could even be different. Oh, that's just the way he is. He always gonna be that way. Oh, that's just the way she is. She's always gonna be that way. But these four men didn't believe that. When they knew that Jesus was there, they knew if we could just put a little extra effort in, if we can go just a little further, if we can go a little beyond ourselves and what we want and how we feel, it may be inconvenience and we may have to be a little inconvenienced. But if we can go beyond ourselves, we may be able to do something to help. Yeah. In this day and time, I believe that a word like that, found in Mark chapter 2, verse 1 through 12, if you get a chance, you want to read the story. I believe a word like that is very important because I believe there will be so many different people that are in so many situations that they can't get help. but you're going to have to be able to see them better than where they are. You're going to have to be able to. He was paralyzed, and it wasn't anything that they could do to help him, but they knew that there was somebody named Jesus that could actually change their life. So we're in a season of time where people need to know that there is help for their circumstance. There is help for their paralyzed situation. And many people are paralyzed by many different things. This man couldn't walk. Some people can't get out of a relationship. Some people can't stop doing drugs. Some people can't stop doing alcohol. Some people can't stop going places. Some people can't stop clicking on that site, watching that porn. Some people they're paralyzed. Their hearts, their mind, everything is paralyzed. They can't get beyond where they are, and they don't even know how they could get there. And so God is calling us to a position today to say, okay, a lot of your churches are shut down, but you are the church. Maybe, just maybe, you may have to step out of the church and just come away. Maybe I've allowed this for you to come away to be able to see. They didn't notice that this man wasn't inside the house. Mm-mm. He wasn't inside the house, and they just picked him up while he was inside the house. He was outside the house. Christ was in the house. They had to get him in the house to get to Jesus. Now, I'm not saying you can only get a healing in the church. I'm not. I believe Jesus can heal you anywhere. You can get a healing wherever you are. He's a mobile God. He moves. He can go anywhere and be anywhere. Matter of fact, the Bible calls it omnipresent. He's omnipresent. That means he can be everywhere. He's able to do anything. But the point that I'm trying to make with this is that they had to believe that he could do it for them. And I believe God is calling us to a place to believe for someone else. I believe we're in a season where he's saying that it's important for us to believe for someone else's healing, for someone else's miracle, for someone else's deliverance, for somebody else's coming out. It's important. I'll say this in our end. Three people that were very powerful in the Bible: Jonah, Moses, Jesus. All three. All three men were very powerful, and they did a powerful thing for God. But none of the three did their own thing. Jonah, God told Jonah to go to Nineveh. Jonah wasn't even a part of the people in Nineveh. But God told him to go to Nineveh. Why? Because God wanted to save the city. Moses, go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Notice he didn't say, go tell Pharaoh, Moses, let your people go. He said, go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Why? Because these are my people. I want them delivered. Thirdly, he told Jesus, he promised that he was going to send his son. He sent Jesus down what? To save the world. He went down to save God's mankind. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, and whomsoever believeth on him shall not what? Perish, but have everlasting life. He did it for the world. He loved the world, so he sent his son. Notice all three men were used by God, but not to do anything that not for them, not for their glory, not for their fame. All three men were used by God to do something that God needed done. So in this season, all I'm saying to you is that God wants to use you to help somebody else get their breakthrough, get their deliverance. God's going to use you in a mighty way. I dare you every morning when you wake up, just wake up and say, God, where do you need me to go today? Who do you need me to see today? I've had times where I prayed that prayer and I found out while I was at work, somebody at work was in the hospital. Hey, I'm going down to the hospital today after work. Had plans, had things to do, but the Lord laid on my heart, go down to the hospital. I would go down to the hospital and see them in the hospital. Didn't make a big deal about it because that's not what it's all about. They were surprised to see me show up. I showed up because I prayed, Lord, what do you have me to do today? Sometimes he had me go just go get the grandkids, take the grandkids to get some McDonald's, whatever the case may be. What would you have me to do? It doesn't have to be elaborate. You may not be tearing down any roofs in order to get it done, but doing something for somebody else will carry you out of your comfort zone a lot of times and what you would really want to do when you pray that prayer. But we are in the season. I believe there's too many people hurt, too many people challenged right now for us to be self-centered and thinking about ourselves. God is calling all of us out, just like he did these four boys. He called these four young men, not boys, but these young men, to help this man. You may not even be able to, and look, they tore the roof off. I'm pretty sure the owner was like, oh, hey, what are you doing? What's up? But you may not have to, in this particular situation, in these situations, you're not going to have to worry about traditions. You're going to have to tear off tradition. We're going to have to tear off traditions. We're gonna have to tear off the way people did it before. We're gonna have to tear off the rooftop of the traditions of our belief systems, of what it was we did back in the day, how it was we were back in the day. We may have to tear the roof off that. We may have to mess that house up. We may have to do, in order to get some people help, get some people changed, we may have to tear the roof off. We may have to do it unconventional. It's no more where we just gonna wait. It's full. We're not gonna do it. No, they were determined. We're gonna find a way with our kids. We may have to find a way with our spouses. We may have to find a way with our friends. We're gonna have to find a way, even when the way is done. We're gonna have to find a way. Why? Because if we believe that there is somebody that can help, we believe his name is Jesus. We got to do whatever it takes to make sure that they get to Jesus. Now, notice, man, I just like preaching. This is my last point. This is my last point, man. Matter of fact, I want to be correct. I want to be correct. It's important for us to remember that Jesus did actually heal them.